What's going on, everybody? Um, Something pretty cool happened today. It's very unexpected. I was at work. I got a phone call. I saw that the area code was coming from American Fork, so I figured it was going to be the police department, and that they were going to talk to me about, my grandma request and all these various things that I submitted. I answered the phone, and it ended up being the chief of police. So we engaged each other a little bit more, and he immediately led with how he wanted to apologize for the incident that happened to me. When he first told me that, I was set aback. I mean, I've never had a department apologize for me for anything. Usually, they're just they're so stuck in their ways, and they're not willing to admit fault. Um, with when I had my incident with the Grand Junction Police Department, the chief was a real piece of shit about it. And same thing with Centerville Police Department. One department I had to fight with a lawsuit because there was no other recourse, and the other department I had to fight in the courts. But this phone call went a long way, in that he admitted that his officer was wrong. He admitted that the officer shouldn't have been doing it. Yes, they have jurisdiction to do it throughout the whole state, but he specifically said that my stop was bullshit and shouldn't have happened because I did nothing illegal. He let me know that he was most upset at the fact that his officer had come up to me and immediately talked about how he was going to smash my window out. The fact that he approached a civilian like that to begin with made that threat that he couldn't do, and he implicated another law enforcement agency, the Highway Patrol, saying that he's going to have them come do something that they couldn't even legally do. He was pretty disappointed about that. He let me know that he's not sure what the discipline is going to be, but the officer is going to be disciplined. And he wanted to know that accountability was something that they take seriously, and they're really big on officers not using their badge to, for lack of better words, bully citizens around. So I was really caught off guard by that, and it was really cool to hear that and to get a call directly from the chief acknowledging that they made a mistake. They acknowledged that mistake, and they were going to do what they need to do to correct the action and move forward. And that goes a long way, man. Like, a long way. A lot of people think, oh, I'm trying to bait the officer for a lawsuit and all of this nonsense. I don't have any interest in a fucking lawsuit, right? I have interest in accountability of police officers. You film them. You film them just in case something goes sideways, just like this. Right? We can hold them accountable as a society. Film is way more powerful than a lawsuit, way more powerful than a complaint, right? Public scrutiny is how you get things changed, especially when you take into consideration they have qualified immunity. That's one thing we need to change as a society. Maybe if we start coming after these officers' pensions and personal pay for when they make these kind of mistakes, it'll make them think twice from trying to strong arm the civilian population. So again, yeah, really cool that the chief himself, he reached out to me, apologized on behalf of his department, and had the actual officer reach out to me. Hopefully, this was a humbling experience for him. I know for sure for me it was. I learned a lot when I get into a very upset rage mode. What happens to the human brain is called flooding. And flooding is, you literally lose, I think they say, like 10% or 20% of your actual brain thinking ability. And that's because your logic processing prefrontal cortex shuts down. Your ability to process information like you normally would is neutered because you're being flushed with all these, you know, chemicals and emotions or whatever. And for me, the only thing that I regret is saying that, you don't know who I am, this and that. That is something that it shouldn't matter who I am or who you are, or anybody. We're all American citizens. We all deserve to be treated with respect, with dignity, and treated according to the law. None of us are above the law, to include police officers and judges and various positions, attorneys, etc. And we hear that shit from them all the time, and it drives us crazy. So I did let that slip. That was beneath me, and I regret it. But I learned from this, and moving forward, you know, uh, stand my ground for sure, but try to do it in a more logically sound way. I think the last thing I'm going to point out is for those individuals that watch the video and are saying things like, he's lucky he wasn't shot. I just want to point out how ludicrous that statement is. Like, we shouldn't live in a society where the norm, the expectation is that because somebody is standing their ground and raise their voice, that the next logical thing, which could happen, is that they get shot because a irrational cop. It should not be that way. We are perpetuating the problem that exists out there by normalizing the fact that blue lives are more important than civilian lives. You raise your voice to a cop, you get shot. That's just asinine. We, the people, the American people who the Constitution supports, right? The police, they work for us. It's not the opposite way around. We need to change society and the culture to where that is the abnormal thing that happens and not something that is looked at as the norm simply because you're standing your ground. So just wanted to say that. Hopefully that gets people to think different. I highly doubt it. Bootlickers fucking everywhere. But yeah. So with that, here's a video. And for me, this one's closed. Have a good one. Bye. Hello?
Hey, Aaron, the Sergeant Stowers.
Hey.
Hey, is now good?
Yeah, I'm good now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'm here with Detective Kitchen, and I understand you spoke with our chief earlier today?
Yes, he
Okay.
he called me and was very apologetic, and it's the first time that ever happened to me. I really appreciated it, actually.
Oh, cool. Well, good. Well, yeah, I'd like to pass the phone off to Detective Kitchen for a minute, and then after he's done chatting with you for a minute, if you have any questions for me, great, and if not, that's okay too. But
okay,
I'll pass this off to him real quick.
Alrighty.
Hey, Mr. Kitchen, Detective Kitchen, or Mr. Booker, sorry about that.
No, you're
Detective
good.
Kitchen here. So let me explain again. So the initial reason for my stop was I was under the assumption that that was an HOV exit only lane, which I did explain to you, but after the fact, I have found out that that's incorrect. You are allowed to exit there. So I do want to apologize to you for stopping you there. I'm not above admitting that I don't know everything. I didn't know that that was, an exit as well lane. So I do apologize for the initial stop. And also, when I got to your window and told you to put the window down, you told me no. I shouldn't have told you that I was going to have your window broken by another agency and let myself get amped up. So I apologize as well for letting myself get to that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I will accept your apology. What I do want to say, that's what you're presenting to me. I choose to believe different. I think that you pulled me over because I passed you, and you just wanted to flex on me. I believe that because there was other cars that were right next to you that had a single passenger, and you didn't do anything to them. You targeted me because I passed. But that's here nor there. What I do want to say is that, had you simply just approached me
You know, like there is no law that requires us to roll the window the whole way down. Some people choose to crack it for their own protection, so their door isn't snatched open, or whatever the case may be. But we have our reasons of doing that. And for you to come up and tell me, you know, you're going to smash my window, that immediately just got me upset. And I try to keep my composure until you told me, again, in my opinion, the frivolous reason as to why you pulled me over. What I think you need to remember is that, you know, like, you're in the business of executing the law. You are a lawman, right? We don't expect you to know everything, but we do expect for you to abide by the law. Telling a person to roll down their window, or telling them that that's an order, that's not an order that we have to listen to. That's not a lawful order. A lawful order is backed by a statute. Anything else that you want us to do, that is something that is just personal. We don't have to abide by things that are not per the law. And more people are starting to realize this, and more people are starting to wake up to this, because we're starting to see the injustices, or the injustice that is going around, because too many people with badges just let it go to their head. I have no doubt that I'm not the first person that you did this to. I think that because when I told you, you know, it was going to go on YouTube, you told me, I don't care what, or something along the lines of, you know, I'm not worried about it. That is a sign that you've been doing this for way too long, and then I was just the person to finally expose it. People think that I'm doing this or that I did this because of a lawsuit and I want money and stuff. I don't care about any of that crap. What I care about is accountability. What I care about is that people are doing the right thing when they are in a position that has so much power that can destroy people's lives. You guys, when I say you guys, I don't mean a broad paintbrush, but it seems like a lot of law enforcement forget that. They forget the power that they have to ruin people's lives, and most people just cave. But there's some people that are out there that are like me, that are tired of it. I'm literally a product of law enforcement being used the wrong way against me, and I'm fed up with it. And there's going to be more people that are out there that are like this. The only thing that we ask is that you just do your job according to the law. It's equivalent to like going to check out at a grocery store. You don't have to interact with that cashier if you don't want to, but they have to ring up your stuff. That's how a traffic stop should be. Some people just don't want to listen to all the stuff you want to tell them. This is, if I broke the law, then I give you my credentials. That's what I have to do by the law. You take that, you go back to your car, you write a ticket or you write a warning, and you come back and you give it, and that's it. That is the transaction. We are not children here that need to be spoken to by people in law in enforcement to, you know, like you're better than us. You're not. It's your job. A lot of people respect that, right? But there's some people that don't, and that's just the way that it is. It's your job. All we ask is that you do it by the law. Now, I would like to apologize to you too. Obviously, I got amped. I just saw red, man. I was screaming and cussing. I called you a couple things that I wish I didn't. I really wish I didn't say that you don't know who I am. Saying stuff like that makes me no better than people who are cops and say you don't know who I am, or people who are judges and they abuse their power. I'm a nobody, right? But I'm a person who deserves to be treated with respect because I have constitutional rights, right? And I don't want that to be taken advantage of. So again,
I agree, and I wish our interaction would have gone differently. I do believe that if I hadn't let myself get amped up about the window, that our interaction would have gone completely differently. And like I've said. I do apologize
Yeah.
for that.
Well, I accept that, and I apologize too for, it was never any of my interactions with law enforcement is never personal. It's more about the principle and about the rights. But sometimes I lose focus and I get all crazy. But again, I appreciate the phone call. This is the first time that I've gone through this experience. I've definitely learned from it, and I hope that you learned from it too. And please don't do this to anybody else, because it just paves the way for abuse of power, and it's just not right.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. You have anything for me before I let you go?
No. I appreciate the phone call sincerely.
All right, you bet.
I hope you guys take this too and use it as like a training thing for your department to educate all your officers there, because I know you guys are going through some other shit too, and like we just want LEO that does their job and upholds the Constitution and respects citizens' rights. That's all we want. That's all we want.
Yep. I agree with you 100% there. I want the same thing. So.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day.
You too. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.